Jess King joins us. She is the winner in the 11th District of Pennsylvania tonight. Yay! I love it. I love it.
Look at that energy in that room. Jess is the best.
Okay. Okay. So, Jess.
They're very excited too.
Absolutely. I already love everything about this interview and this campaign. One, I love the excitement. I like the real people. And I like any catchy slogan. Jess is the best. I'll take it.
The best. Good. Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's better than lead from the middle.
Yes. We have never said that, and I don't think we will.
So, Jess, you got a couple of advantages. You're a Justice Democrat.
Yes.
That means you're a progressive fighter. That also means you're uncorrupted, no corporate PAC money.
That's right. Not a dime.
Yep. And then you had another small advantage in this primary. It was uncontested. Yep. But now that I've seen the army behind you, it's obvious to me that you scared the other people out of the race.
I think that happened. Absolutely. That was a big factor.
Right. So now let's talk about your race because you got this, you won tonight, and uncontested or not, obviously you're moving on to the general election. So talk to us about the state of the general election in your district.
Well, we're waiting to hear the results. Our incumbent first-term Republican was primaried from the right, so we're gonna wait and see who won that race, and I think that informs part of the way we go forward. But honestly, they're not ideologically different, and a big part of what we need to fight for and talk about in this race is about the kind of vision that is going to work for this country, is going to work for this district, and we firmly believe that it's all about how we put forward a vision that's an inclusive, populist vision for how we make this country work for all of us and not leave people behind.
Hey, Jess, it's Michael Shore. A question for you. When you are uncontested, obviously you're the winner tonight, but this does give you a lot of attention. When you win a race, a congressional race, uncontested or not, you get a lot of attention that you didn't have the day before. On the Republican side, and this is a question I always ask politicians, and once in a while they answer honestly, are you rooting for either one? Do you want to see Byler, this really conservative guy who says, if I win, I promise you I'm going to be in the Freedom Caucus, that sort of thing? Would you rather see him win? Do you think it's easier to run against somebody who's even farther to the extreme of Lloyd Smucker?
I mean, honestly, both of them have their advantages in how to run, but I think honestly holding Lloyd Smucker accountable for the last 2 years is something that we really want to do. And
all
that
right,
people
there
in this
we go.
district have been doing, and we'd like to continue to do that.
You're in the 4% of politicians who answer the question honestly, so I appreciate that.
I like to stay outside of the, I'm not in the norm.
Right, that's right. No, but
tell
your friends to answer that question honestly. So what is, it's pretty rancorous between the two of them. Do you think that's going to hurt their electorate? Do you think it's going to hold people back?
Oh my gosh.
The real landscape here is that Donald Trump won that district, whatever it looked like, by 26 points. But they can take each other down a little bit there, can't they?
So let me tell you the best part of my day. We visited polling places all over Lancaster County and York counties, which have been Republican places for, I don't know, ever. And the best parts of the day, we're talking with Republican greeters at the polls and having really candid, we're killing them with kindness. We're showing up and having awesome conversations. And numerous people told me today, like, oh, you really, I'm kind of surprised. And I actually might really want to vote for you because these guys are turning us off like crazy. The way that they're showing up, they need to grow up. And we need to have people like you who are talking about the issues and our values, stepping up and maybe I'll actually vote for you this year. Yes. So that's happening all the time.
That's great.
And I think that they're doing it to themselves, and we're showing up with our values and with issues, and obviously with a ton of grassroots support. And that's how you win a district like this.
And Jess, what are those values or issues that you think could resonate with Republicans, even though you're very progressive?
Oh man, you guys were just talking about religious communities, right? So I'm Mennonite from this district. My roots go back here 12 generations. This is one of the most Amish and Mennonite districts in the country. And I always talk about the fact that what I learned from that tradition and what I think we need, that is so true for so many people, is that we're not all in this just for ourselves. This isn't survival of the fittest, but the Bible taught, my tradition taught, that other than loving God, our biggest responsibility is to love our neighbors as ourselves. And that's a huge opportunity to speak to religious values in a red place and win people over and talk about progressive policies that actually match those values and look for how it connects to making our neighbors well. Because right now we know that the poverty rate in the city that I live in went up 50% since the year 2000, that 47% of our kids live in poverty, that working families haven't seen a raise in a generation. Things aren't working for so many people. And we're clear on that. We're speaking to those issues, and we're leading with our values, which is about how we are better together and how we care. We're better when we care about our neighbors, when we love our neighbors as ourselves.
I got another slogan for you. Mennonite. Okay.
Okay.
This is, hey, Jess, this is going to be awful. So just stand by. I just want to prepare you for the fact that it's going to be awful.
Mennonite makes right.
Mennonite makes right.
Oh, look, actually, it
worked.
It was well received.
That's right. It's burning up the landscape in Lancaster.
Nothing is tougher in politics, Jess, correct me if I'm wrong, than a big Amish get out the vote drive, is it?
Definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know how you're gonna reach this. I know TV ads ain't gonna work. Oh my God.
And turns out, like a lot of Amish folks, to dispel the rumors that are out there, they actually don't vote.
Right.
So Trump, whatever PAC, George Bush getting out the vote with Amish, a lot of it was a myth. But there's a ton of Mennonites that vote, and there's a ton, obviously, of Democrats that vote, and a ton of Republicans that were winning over, regardless of their background.
What issue among Republicans is something that has frustrated them about their representation in your district that would cause some of these people that you talked to tonight to say, you know what, we're going to be with you? Is there some issue? Because that's unusual. That's not happening all across America.
Yeah, I mean, I think values, talking about where we come from and why this is an important moment. People are fed up with money in politics. That's something that is totally bipartisan in a place like this. And when my opponent, his last quarterly FEC report, he got 3.7% of his money from people. The rest of it was from corporate PACs and political PACs. And so I think that contrast between what he's doing and what we're doing is just very stark to anybody. And that they can see how we're playing the game speaks to how we would show up, how I would govern, and how I would show up in this community that I think represents our values. I think the other thing other than campaign finance is the fact that Lloyd has been in office for like 2 years and hasn't had one public meeting that was not ticketed, that was open to the public. And so people are fed up with that too, that like, what's he hiding from? Why isn't he out here actually talking to people and hearing feedback from anybody, from people who agree with him or the people who disagree with him?
So Jess, real quick, what percentage of your donors are small donors?
Oh, the majority. I should know the percentage off the top of my head, but our average contribution is right around $40. And we've had, I think, somewhere over 17,000, 18,000. So it's the majority, vast majority.
I think your instinct's right about wanting to go up against Lloyd Smucker instead, because my guess is he overwhelmingly voted with Trump, but he's an establishment guy and 97% of his money comes from giant donors. So he loses both ways.
That's right.
And
we went into a polling place today in a small town, and there was a Trump cutout standing in the entryway, which is kind of creepy, but holding a Smucker sign. And it was like they're like stuck very, very close together. Smucker has not distanced himself at all from Trump, and Trump is not like a beloved figure in this place. So even among Republicans.
But he did do pretty well there, didn't he?
He did all right, but when you look at his performance, especially in the Republican primary, he didn't do great. So.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Jess, before we go, give everybody your website so everybody knows where to go and find out more and donate and volunteer.
Absolutely, JessKingForCongress.com.
JessKingForCongress.com. And we'll have the links down below if you're watching this later on YouTube or Facebook for donations, volunteers, and the website. And everybody remember, Jess is best and Mennonite makes right.
And now is the time to give money to a campaign like this too, because now she is opposed and now she needs this more than she did yesterday. So now she's got a raise.
All right, Jess, thanks for joining us on Victory Night.
Great to be here. Good night.
Love it. Okay.